Hi, welcome to another conversation about Earth-friendly events. Today we welcome Sharona Schneider from Tuesdays for Trash. Sharona, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having.
Yeah, of course. So for the audience, just to start with the basics, what is Tuesdays for Trash?
Tuesdays for Trash is an environmental organization that started about a year ago. We basically encourage everyone in the world to dedicate at least one day a week for the planet by picking up trash. And we hope that it turns into something that you do every day, just becoming and turning people into activists, changing different habits in your daily routine, inspiring others in your community to pick up, and just having fun, like getting out into nature and keeping our environments clean.
Yeah, I love what you all have highlighted about how something small can create something big. Can you share a little bit more about how you and your partner created this movement, and then how you felt inspired to address such a huge and complex issue with just such a like 1 foot at a time type of mindset?
Yeah, so Tuesdays for Trash started as just a way for me and my really good friend Wanda McNeely to hang out during the pandemic. There weren't a lot of volunteer activities going on, so we just decided to go to our local community park blocks and bring a trash bag and pick up. And it was something that we could do really easily and safely by wearing masks and gloves and social distancing. And what started as just the two of us picking up trash turned into a global movement simply by sharing what we were doing on social media and people liking it and wanting to get involved. We started inviting our friends, we started organizing community events, and it really just took off and skyrocketed from there. And it's really cool to see because it showed that a really simple action that takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes out of your day can turn into a global force for change, because once you start seeing trash or start picking up trash, you start seeing it everywhere. And it's really hard to ignore. And it's especially hard to not take action when you realize how easy it is and how little it inconveniences you.
Yeah, I love that you all found an opportunity to find a way to connect while also benefiting the planet. I feel like that is something that resonates very much so with the event community that is streaming this content, basically on ways to create engaging and memorable experiences that are also philanthropic or have impact. Um, where have you seen the most amount of reward in this?
I think it's really been with our community organized events because we love adding elements of the local community to it by having different businesses sponsoring treats or drinks, or having different friends come in, showcase their art, or just finding as many ways as possible to get people in the community involved. It's been so much fun to just see people play games together, pick up trash, eat good food, have conversations, and realize that there's a huge community in our little area of people who care. And I think that's something that people really need, is just seeing that they're not alone and this isn't something that they're tackling by themselves. Because like you mentioned, the climate crisis is a huge, overwhelming problem. And so being able to see that we are not just individuals, but part of a collective has been really inspiring and fulfilling and rewarding in this whole movement.
Yeah. I know that there's been some, pushes towards meatless Mondays and now Tuesdays for trash and ways to, waste less Wednesdays and things like that. Have you found that as you've been building this momentum and having events that you all are planning, has it been challenging to keep sustainability as the common thread? When you're looking for catering providers or having beverages or things like that, has there been anything that's posed a challenge and kind of the next steps of where you would like to pursue events for you all?
I think the main challenge is sometimes when we want to provide resources for the community that shows up, like water and things, it's usually in a plastic water bottle, which is literally the worst thing for me to have to accept that there isn't an alternative. There isn't a biodegradable option for portable water that you can give to people. And so one thing we're really trying to figure out is how we can provide these resources and make it something that's accessible to everyone, while still being sustainable. We've luckily been able to find a lot of different partners in Oregon that are creating things that are made eco-friendly and sustainable, and doing workshops and teaching people about ways that they can change their habits. But it's not easy, is what we found.
Yeah. I feel like, and this is kind of off script, but a low hanging fruit and an opportunity for individuals that might be listening, that how they could collaborate with you all is, if in-person events become something that's done more frequently, if there's some sort of swag that is a bottle, a lot of conferences and events do that to reduce waste, and then also have some sort of sponsorship opportunity, maybe similar to, what some organizations do of, if you donate your swag bottle to Tuesdays for Trash for to keep the community members that are cleaning up the planet hydrated. Those are some ways that, some of these event planners that are looking for partnership opportunities could support.
The only issue is, like, at one point, do you have too many water bottles? Like, ideally, our volunteers would come with their own. That's not always the case. So I totally agree that, like, if we had something reusable that people could utilize, it would be a way better option. But I think with COVID, that's really posing a challenge for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The quantity management of food, water, everything like that, swag, it's a challenge for planners that are trying to look in a crystal ball that doesn't exist and try to plan accordingly. I see that with food all the time. No one wants to have a dish run out that's the most popular dish, mm-hmm. But then if you accommodate that for everything, then you're going to have an enormous amount of food waste. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's an incredibly complex issue. As you've been, you're definitely educated about sustainability. Has there been something that's surprised you as you've continued down this journey of learning more?
I think I learned something new every week, whether it's like a new sustainable swap that I can make or new developments in the industry. We were talking briefly before this, and I mentioned, like, gum. It's crazy to realize that things in your everyday routine are so intertwined in industries that are very much looking towards creating an ignorant consumer society that doesn't look into how things are made or what they're purchasing. Like, gum is made out of polyethylene, which is the main material used in plastic bags and plastic water bottles, that not a lot of people realize, and no one would think to look at that or look at the ingredients. And I think we need to start making sure that we're prioritizing the climate in everything that we do, searching for alternatives. Like, there's Glee gum and Simple gum that's made out of plant-based material that's biodegradable. So I'm surprised constantly, not always in the best way, but there's usually alternatives that we can implement instead.
What's your go-to when you are looking into something to find out if it's neutral or negative or positive impact on the planet? Are you looking to see if it's a B Corp, or if they've got some sort of sustainability jargon on their website, which is also difficult to trust? So then it's a lot of, without putting policy and regulations in place to industries to meet certain guidelines, it's a lot to place on the consumer. So how do you find time to sleep while also being sustainable? Like, what's your 3 steps you follow when you're looking to buy a piece of gum or order burgers from a restaurant for an event? What's your go-to?
I usually look if they're B B Corp certified. And if not that, there's some labels that you can look out to that show if they're either in line with actual sustainable standards or just greenwashing, which happens a lot, unfortunately. People love throwing out buzzwords like eco-friendly and sustainable without actually following through with it. So it's hard for the consumer to differentiate. And I think that it shouldn't be on us. It should be on these corporations and businesses to follow through with what they're saying that they're doing. How I sleep at night, I'm not entirely sure I sleep that well right now.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get there by just continuing to put pressure on corporations and demanding that they be really transparent with how they're doing things.
Yeah, I just recently went through a purchase of a new bed, and I wanted the entire bed to be eco-friendly and also donate or recycle the bed that we would no longer be using. And it took a few months as just someone that I've got kids and a full-time position. And so to manage that research, there were so many paths that I went down that I got so close to realizing that, oh, this is going to work. And then was surprised that it was not actually a sustainable option. Or just not to the degree that I was looking for. There are some organizations that do utilize percentages of sustainable goods. But I wanted to really go all in on it. So, I mean, it's really challenging for consumers to manage that themselves, and, be able to trust everyone and what they're saying. I also heard a buzzword that was used that I found kind of interesting of wish cycling. So you just like throw something in the recycling bin, like, I hope it works, And so I think there's a lot of positive intention out there, and we just have to take the time as industry comes forward and being more climate positive and eco-friendly. But yeah, it's really tough. I want to make sure that we find ways and a call to action after this conversation of how the hospitality industry and how the event industry could help support. I know that you all have some really cool Earth Day initiatives coming up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Totally. So April 17th, we have a collaboration with this organization called Chasing Waterfalls, where we're encouraging everyone to go out to a local trail or waterfall near you and just bring a bag and trash gloves to pick up any litter that you see. Because what we often do is we see litter and we don't have anything to pick it up with, and so we just pass the trash. And so we're encouraging everyone not to pass the trash. And you can RSVP through the link on our social medias. And it's just a really cool way for us to do something that we love, be out in nature and the environment while still doing our part to preserve it. And anyone who registers will be entered for a chance to win an All Trails Pro subscription account for an entire year. And we're also partnering with Ocean Heroes Network the entire month of April to pick up trash and be entered to win some cool books by youth climate activists on just climate justice and ways that you can be an activist in your community. And we're partnering with the brand Guayaki Yerba Mate for a trash challenge where if you just pick up trash and use the hashtag that's on our social medias, you can enter to win some cool prizes from them.
That's awesome. I love that. I also think that, there could be some collaboration with some running races and, some of the marathons go all across the city and, ways that we could somehow figure out how to integrate picking up trash with that would be so cool.
Absolutely. Every year we actually partner with Dirtbag Runners and we do a run for the planet. We just had our one in March wrap up and we raised like 1,300 for the Greenbelt movement in Kenya. And we had over 100 people participate. It was really awesome.
That's so cool. I love that. So what would be your ideal if you, could plan out in some, utopian type of world, what the next few years would look like for Tuesdays for Trash outside of just solving the climate crisis and making sure every human is a good person. Outside of that, what are some things that, you know, you would wish you would see happen in the next couple of years?
I think what I would hope to see is that we would find a way to reuse trash entirely. Like, ideally, I would almost want Tuesdays for Trash to be an obsolete movement in the sense that there's no more trash to be picked up. And so that's not, I'm not sure. It's like we've already accomplished so much that we never even thought that we could. We've had people participate in 20 countries. We have 7 chapters. So I think what I would love to see is just, as a society, coming together to implement sustainability to an extent where trash is no longer prevalent.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
Totally. Yeah. Being able to reuse products properly. I mean, I also would love to explore ways to figure out what to do with existing landfills. I was looking at some images of just bikes that have been stacked and that are just broken. But then there's so many philanthropic activities where people will come and build bikes for holiday drive and things. But then there's, you know, thousands upon thousands of bikes just stacked up in a landfill. So, you know, finding ways to link all of those people and all of those groups to find solutions. I mean, it's what you all are doing is exactly that. So that's amazing. So outside of going to the website, it sounds like following you all on social media, that's key. And signing up to, you know, get on mailing lists and finding out what's next. Any other ways to get involved?
I think talking about the issue of trash, overconsumption, the climate crisis in general, I think it's something that people are really wary to do for one reason or another. But the more we talk about it, the more solutions we can come up with, and the more people can become aware of the situation that we're facing. And hopefully we can pull together our resources, our brains, and our not manpower, because we're, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I just hope that people would stop being afraid to talk about what's going on and actually make a point of bringing it into conversations and different areas that we're involved in.
Yeah. Well, and I think you've inspired people to accept that it can start small. I think that fear moving politics or anything else that might be clouding judgment, you know, I think it's just so big that it's overwhelming. And so the way that so much impact has been created with Tuesdays for Trash, because you just picked up trash on a Tuesday, like that's incredible. So I hope that this is inspiring to those that are looking for, I mean, from the event industry, we're always looking for ways to connect community members and have attendees leave an experience with something memorable. And what more can create a memorable experience by doing something that's impactful in your community that's also outside, and all of those benefits as well. I hope that this raises more awareness. Definitely sign up to get involved for those Earth Day events. I think that that's great. And I hope that this is one of many conversations we have.
Me too, and I'm so excited to have been invited to speak on this. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And I think that as long as we just realize the power we have as individuals, put pressure on corporations and businesses to start caring and wanting a future, we're honestly on a right track to solving and addressing this issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to get a different gum. So, you know, one step at a time, right? Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing what more you all do.
Thank you so much. Take care.